Kookaburra contacted me about trying one of their new sticks that has their new balance shifting system. They explained to me what the system was and it sounded really interesting. So what it is the stick features an interchangeable weighted end cap that allows you to alter the weight and balance point of the stick. The stick also features a 98% carbon composition using Kookaburra's forged carbon technology. It has a mid-low bow with a 25mm bow and a maximum bow point 26cm from the head of the stick. The stick has a texture on the face to aid with grip, and the stick that they sent me weighed in at 538 grams with no end cap fitted. So this is where the Kookaburra balance shifting system has the most impact. You can choose from a 15, a 20 or a 25 gram end cap, and depending on which one of those that you use, the balance point can actually move up to 4 centimeters down the stick towards the head. With the 15 gram end cap, the stick played a lot more head heavy, so it was better for trapping and controlling the ball, but also felt a little bit slower when performing drags or executing stick skills. With the 25 gram end cap fitted, even though the stick was actually heavier because more of the weight was located at the top end of the stick, it made the head of the stick feel lighter and thus gave a lighter feel on the ball. Though the extra weight did allow for better riding of tackles, the extra light feeling of the head made it much better for intricate skills and tight dribbling. With any of the end caps fitted, the stick has a nice profile for dribbling. It's got a really nice bow for executing stick skills, and you can keep the ball controlled on the head of the stick with a lot of ease. Because of the high carbon composition, it's very stiff on the ball, so you get a lot of feel when you're dribbling. You always know where the ball is on the head of the stick, and that gives you a lot of confidence when carrying the ball. This stick has a great profile for hitting. It's really well balanced, so it's very easy to hit the ball flat or to lift the ball with that mid-low bow profile. The stick has high stiffness, so it has a really fantastic power transfer. All of the momentum that you can generate through your swing is transferred into the ball because the stick has very little flex to it. The hitting does feel slightly easier with the 15 gram end cap fitted, just because more of the weight feels lower down, so it feels like you're putting much less effort into your swing. That being said, with the 25 gram end cap fitted, the stick has more weight to it, and so you can get a bit more momentum, but it does require more effort. When it came to hitting tomahawks, this stick was fantastic. Had really great power transfer with that high stiffness from the carbon composition. The edge had a really nice thickness to it, it was really consistent. You could hit the ball flat if you wanted to, or with a slight tweak to your swing, you could hit under the centre of the ball and cause it to lift. That consistency of the edge gave you a great deal of confidence when taking the ball onto your reverse stick, whether that was playing a hard pass down the line to a teammate, firing the ball across D for a deflection, or if you were taking it on for a shot, getting under the ball and firing it into the roof of the goal. There was no real difference that I could find during my testing with any of the 3 end caps fitted when hitting tomahawks. That being said, upright hitting was slightly better with the 15 gram end cap fitted in my opinion. So this stick has a good profile for flicking. It has a slightly shaved head which makes it a bit easier to get under the ball, and once you get under the ball, because of the touch compound on the face of the stick, combined with the high level of stiffness from that 98% carbon composition, the stick is really consistent and that leads to it being very accurate when flicking. So you can push through and all the momentum you generate is passed on to the ball, and because it stays on the head of the stick, as you push through, your follow through will guide it to where you want it to go. With the 25 gram end cap, it makes it feel a little bit easier to accelerate the head of the stick through the ball, just because of the balance point being shifted up the stick towards your hands. The stick is also good for 3D skills and playing lifted passes. So if you just wanted to lift the ball briefly into the air to beat a defender's stick, or if you wanted to play a low lifted pass to a teammate, because of that mid-low bow, it is very consistent and it gives you a lot of confidence when taking the ball to the air. Again, the stick is good for overhead passing. It's not something it really specialises in. With it being a mid-low bow, it's a very all-rounder profile, but it's very easy to throw an overhead pass 30 or 40 metres down the pitch. But if you do want to throw it a bit further, it does require a lot more effort with this profile of stick. with the 25 gram end cap fitted, it does feel much easier to accelerate the head of the stick through the ball to add a little bit more range, but the difference is really minimal. Within that 30 to 40 metre range, it is very easy to drop the ball to a teammate, whether that's dropping it onto the end of their stick to control or throwing it into their path to run onto. You have a lot of control over the trajectory, and once you get under the ball with that shaved head of the stick, again the ball stays glued to the face of the stick because of that touch compound, and it gives you a lot of confidence in the accuracy of your overhead passing. When it comes to drag flicking, again this stick is very good, even though it's not something it really specialises in. To generate a lot of power on your drag flicks with this kind of bow, you have to use a much longer drag, so that you have more time to build up the momentum and really utilise the bow, rolling the ball all the way up the stick and then back down. I also find with this profile it's a lot harder to add deception. Because of how long a drag you have to take, it's easier for goalkeepers to read the trajectory and where the release is going to come. I did find that with the 15 gram end cap fitted, that extra weight being further down the stick made it a little bit easier to add deception, as it added a lot of late power with that momentum coming through at the end of the drag. Once again, the touch compound and the high stiffness of this stick come into play in terms of accuracy. Once the ball rolls back down the stick, it holds on the head of the stick just long enough for you to accurately push through and place the ball into the corners of the goal. And that stiffness means that all of the momentum that you generate is pushed through the stick and none of it is lost. So this is a really great all-rounder stick. It has great hitting power, it's good for flicking, it's great on reverse. It is a really balanced profile, that mid-low bow. It doesn't specialise in anything like drag flicking, but it also performs consistently across all aspects of the game. So this is a great stick for an all-rounder to pick up. So I think the balance shifting system that Kookaburra have put into this stick is a really interesting idea. I'm sure that in practice you will find an end cap that you really like and you'll put that on, put the tape around it, and you'll stick with that going forward. But I think the option to be able to adjust the balance point of a stick is a really interesting one. I think it would have been more effective had the stick been lighter to begin with. Because this was quite a high weighted stick, I feel like it didn't have as much of an effect as it could have done. But I'm really interested to see where this goes going forward. If this is something that can be implemented and maybe taken a step further so you can move the balance point a greater distance over the stick, I think that could be a real selling point for Kookaburra in future. If you've enjoyed this review, please leave a like, leave a comment of any questions or any sticks you'd like to see me review in future. And as always, please subscribe, it really does help out with getting this out there. If you want to support further, you can join the Boss F Hockey Club via Patreon or on my website bossfhockey.com. That money just helps towards running costs and any excess goes towards giveaways. If you want to, you can get some Boss F Hockey gear. So I sell hockey t-shirts on my website bossfhockey.com. And if you film yourself doing any hockey related stuff in a Boss F Hockey t-shirt, I will share it on social media as well.